It's 7 o'clock on a Tuesday night, and where else would I be but here with you? DJ Stutz here with Little Hearts Academy USA and Imperfect Heroes podcast. And I love our podcast. I love doing it. I love hearing from people who have listened to it and left a comment or emailed me or actually I ran into someone in my little teeny town. They heard about my podcast and they saw me out and about and they said, "Hey, I listened to your podcast," and they liked it. And so that made me feel good too. So this week, oh, I wanted to tell you too that we're on day 2 of our 5 Days of Peace challenge. And it's great. We're having so much fun. And so I have a link that you can go to and click on it and register, and you can catch up. We've just done the first 2 lives, and you can get the replays there. But the first day we talked about finding peace within yourself, right? And today we talked about finding peace or promoting peace through our communication and the language that we use. And so it's been fun. And so I hope that you'll maybe join and catch up with us. We'd love to have you. All right. Well, this week's episode of Imperfect Heroes podcast is episode 107, and it is called Holy Moly and Happy Homes. And so I have Veronica Williams, who is amazing, and she's teaching us how to build a loving family fortress. I love that term. So anyway, let me tell you a little bit. Veronica um, is the co-founder of a veteran-owned, it's called Alliance Seminars Coaching, and it's a faith-based organization. And she and her husband, who are veterans, um, started this company. And so what she does is she provides coaching services. She does motivational speaking. She does certified workshops. And all of these are to share strategies and skills that are going to strengthen personal and professional relationships. And they're going to teach you about collaboration and how to manage all of that. And so she's also got a group where she's really dedicated to helping women meet tomorrow's challenges in the world. And so she helps both single and married women. She does workshops, she does retreats, she does conferences and roundtables, and she connects to them. And she's just amazing. And so we were talking about just the importance of having a loving, peaceful, safe home to raise our kids. And what does that do for them? And what does that do for us as well? And so she does even some counseling with premarital counseling for people who are engaged. And then maybe right after they get married, and it's like, whoa, what did we do? Right? And then, maybe even going through, we talked even a little bit about the value of perhaps doing a checkup every now and then, like taking a marriage class. It couldn't hurt. And you can find these, Veronica offers them. You can find them often through church or community centers. There's a lot of places that you can find them in. And why not just take a class, make it a once a year thing or every other year, whatever. But so you're just kind of checking in, making sure that you're doing okay. And so I think there's a lot of value in that. And so we talked about, and I'm just going to tell you a few things because such a great episode. And oh yeah, I want to remind you too that you can see Veronica and I have our conversation on YouTube and on Rumble. So on YouTube, the channel is Little Hearts Academy USA, right? And even if you just put in DJ Stutz, you're going to find us. And then on Rumble, same thing, you could look for DJ Stutz, or the channel actually is called Imperfect Heroes. And so you can kind of see us and be a part of that if you would like. If you do, we would love, love, love for you to follow. We've just started doing this. And so they're kind of young. The Rumble is even younger. We were before putting up these, my Tuesday night conversations on YouTube, but we've decided to switch over and actually do the podcast. And I was a little nervous about that, you know, but it's worked out okay. So if you listen, please be sure to follow us, leave a comment. We would love to hear what you're thinking. And you can even leave a comment about, what I'd really like for you to talk about is, and put it in there. And I promise you, we will get that done. So anyway, little rabbit hole that we went down, but we talked about the importance of being able to make compromises and you know, when you want one thing and your spouse wants another thing. And so, how are you going to work that out? Sometimes maybe you just need to say, yeah, I can see this is really important to you. So, okay, we're going to do it. Or other times you may need to find that middle ground, right? And be willing to do that. And I think that, and as Veronica and I talked, it seems like that is becoming such a problem that, we're raising, or we have raised a generation of people who kind of just got everything they wanted. It was hard to even buy a birthday present for some kids because they already had everything, right? And so when you're used to getting your way all the time and not having to work on it and not having to have those problem solving skills and listening skills and, I just want what I want, then it makes it harder for you to kind of have a marriage that's going to work, because those are key skills for making a marriage successful. So if you grew up that way, and you may not realize that you're that way, but maybe you do. Um, and so maybe you need to look into learning some of these problem solving skills. And and taking a workshop, or come and join our Sister Home Society. It's our group coaching, and we talk about those kinds of things. And in fact, that's going to be opening up. It only opens 3 times a year. It's going to open up on July 15th, and it will close again on the 24th, July 24th, and it will be closed then until November. So if you want to get in on some of that, it's very reasonably priced, and so you can go and you know make some changes. Because change is good sometimes. Sometimes you really do need to make a change. So anyway, another thing is, on top of making compromises, is one of the things that makes a marriage, and a family too, more fun and enjoyable, is that ability to be spontaneous. Hey, let's uh, go up to the mountains. It's funny. I watch my daughter. I talk about her a lot. My daughter Rocky, and they live, gosh, not far from Lake Tahoe. And so they're in Reno, but they're in South Reno. And so they're like 20 minutes from their driveway to the lift lines at Mount Rose, which is one of the Tahoe ski resorts. It's actually the highest altitude ski resort. And, they'll be sitting around watching, in the evening, and kind of bored. And it's like, let's go on a hike. Okay, let's go. And they get the kids, and off they go. Or, oh, let's go up to Tahoe, and there's a beach that they really like going to. And so they'll go. And, in the summer, it's light so late that it's no problem going up and enjoying that. So maybe sometimes it's just being able to be spontaneous and flexible, and, finding joy and having fun, instead of just, sitting around in the evening being bored. Oh, it's hot, okay, yeah, it's hot. So let's go out and have a water fight outside. Let's run in the sprinklers, right? If you don't have a pool, run in the sprinklers. That worked for me in LA. We had a lot of friends that had pools, but we did not have a pool with the 7 of us. And so we would just go turn on the sprinklers and run through the sprinklers and have fun. Imagine what that does with your kids when they see mom and dad running through the sprinklers with them. What fun, right? And it's those silly, fun moments that really strengthen, actually, the relationship between, husband and wife. It's an amazing, great thing. Well, one of the other things, I'm just going to go over about 4 things. And so I've done one. And so The other one was Veronica was talking about one of the killers of marriages, right? Is that we think our spouse can read our mind. I've been married 45 years. That's a long time. And my husband still gets it wrong. And guess what? I still get it wrong. And in fact, the other day it was funny. Well, it's been probably about a month, not the other day, but, and I told him, I said, I think you're thinking this. Like when you do this, it feels to me like you're thinking this. And he looked at me, he was like, not even close. Nowhere near that. I was like, oh, okay. So even after all this time, it's, you still make misassumptions. And I've got a brother, one of my five brothers, he's a therapist. And we were talking one time and he told me how when we think we know what someone else is thinking, we are actually wrong 95% of the time. So ask. Oh, that sounded a little harsh. Are we okay? No, it just came out wrong. Or, oh, I'm frustrated with something else, not at you. Oh, okay. Great. Go be frustrated over there. And I'll be happy over here. So, but asking and having those conversations and not expecting them to know, and there are times when I will think, doesn't he know? What is the deal? He should know by now. And, but there are things I should know too that I still mess up. So just be really thoughtful in communicating what your needs are. And then if you're unsure about what they're thinking, or you think, oh, he's doing this because da 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 da, or she's doing this because da 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 da, and say it in a peaceful, kind manner. Oh, our week of peace. But to say, hey, so this is how I'm interpreting what's going on. Am I right or am I wrong? And then you'll find out, right? And then you can go from there with whatever. But we're not telepathic. They're not telepathic, you know. And so let's do it. All right. The third thing that I wanted to share was we talked about setting boundaries and limits. Now, these boundaries and limits are really important for our kids. That's how they know what to expect. They feel safe when they know that this is the rule, whether mommy or daddy had a bad day at work, whether they're tired, whether they're mad at each other, whether, you know, someone asks them to do one more thing and it's just on their plate and they feel like they can't say no. Um, oh, I'm spreading my hair because it's so hot in here and I'm trying to get my back of my neck a little cooler. Anyway, um, and so uh, they need to know, though, that the rules are the same all the time. Now, the rules may graduate as they get older, right? With what was the rule for a 5-year-old may not apply to a 15-year-old, or maybe it will. It just depends on what kind of a rule it is. But we need to be able to understand where they are and graduate with it. But we've got these boundaries and these limits that are going on that are consistent. You don't need to yell to enforce them. You can just say, no. And oh, you need to cry. That's fine. You can cry. We're still not doing that. But if you need to cry about it, I get it. You're upset. And you can cry here. You can cry next to me. You can cry in your quiet spot if you want, but we're still not doing it. Or you can say, well, we're not doing that. That's not what we do. And but here's some other choices that you can have, right? And we can also set boundaries within the marriage. And these aren't things that, we just arbitrarily, we can talk with one another about certain boundaries that we have that will honor our marriage and the way that we manage arguments, the way that we manage finances, the way that we manage even the kids or bedtime or whatever. We can set those boundaries and limitations with each other as they are mutually agreed upon. I know that before I started teaching, for a little while, I worked in a law office, and I knew so I had 3 attorneys, and one was like a big hoity-toity in the firm, and we knew each other really well. We had kids the same age. Our kids grew up together, and but one of the things that I really admired about him was that even though we were friends, even though we had, these other things going on, he would never ever go alone with someone of a female. And so even though we were friends, I knew his wife and I hung out together, but if we were going out to lunch for something or to have a, discussion or whatever, he always had someone else with us so that there would be three. And I knew why he was doing it. And there wasn't any chance that anything was ever going to happen. But it was a respect for the marriage. And that's something that's kind of rare, I think, these days. And so, what are the rules that we have that we're going to abide by that will protect our marriage and our relationship? And so, that's something that's kind of important. So, boundaries and limits for the kids, boundaries and limits for each other. And, we don't bring this up, or we don't, talk about my family or that wackadoodle brother. I don't have a wackadoodle brother, but a lot of people do. And so, there are things that you can agree on, but to have a conversation about it and not assume that the other person understands that this is off limits. Okay. And then the last thing I wanted to share was, and I loved it, but she talked about the importance of forgiveness. And it can be about big things, it can be about small things. And then teaching our kids how to forgive, and letting them see forgiveness within the marriage. So let's say you had a little myth, or I don't know, you didn't do something that you said you were going to do, you forgot about it, and your spouse is not happy about it. And to let the kids say, sweetie, man, I blew that, I forgot about it, or I was upset and I said things in the wrong way, and will you forgive me? And to say those words, will you forgive me? And to hear the other parent say, yeah, thanks for saying that. And of course, I will forgive you. What are you teaching your children about life and about relationships and about faith, even about our Savior, all of those things? What are you teaching them with those words? And so I want you to kind of think on that, and the things that you can do to improve your marriage, teach your children, but giving them that loving fortress for your family. You're going to guard that like nothing else, right? And if mistakes are made, you're going to have to ask for forgiveness and say, I shouldn't have done that, or I stayed out too late, or I said I would get this done and I didn't get it done. And, I may have had a ton of valid reasons, maybe, for not getting it done, but it doesn't change the fact that you said you would and you didn't do it. And so now you're going to go in and you're going to say, hey, I know I said I was going to get this done. It's not going to happen. I'm going to have to do it this day or that day. And if you can give them a heads up that it's not going to happen, and so it's not just a surprise and it's like, oh, I was counting on that, then that's all going to help too. It's a great episode, everyone. It's a fabulous episode. And so I hope that you'll listen. And so I want you to think again about maybe joining us real quick for the 5 days of peace. Like I said, we're only 2 days in. We've got 3 more to go. And they're amazing days. They're great days. You're going to get an email in the morning, and it'll be fun. And we do a live at 6 o'clock at night, 6 o'clock Mountain Time. And so we do a live. And so anyway, there's that. And then I want you to remember too that starting on Saturday, it's this Saturday, the Sister-owned Society is going to open up for registration. And so it'll close on the 24th. And then we will get started on our weekly fun activities. It will be, I forgot the date. It's the middle of August is when we'll get started. So when we're starting to get things ready, revving things up for school, and we'll be able to get things going for that. And so you can always go to our website, www.littleheartsacademyusa.com, and all of that is there for you. So I hope that you'll engage and enjoy us. Next week is a really good episode as well. And so that's episode 108, and it's with Dr. Bill Senyard, and he's amazing. Oh my gosh, such a great conversationalist. It was just so much fun. But we're talking about attuning to your kids. What a great idea. I hope you'll listen in. And so until then, let's find joy in parenting. Bye, guys.